Well, hello everybody. Good morning. My name is Ricardo Cabrera, and I am representing the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Boulder County. And today we're going to be talking with Michael Chifalo. And Michael is the LGBTQ plus program specialist for AAA. And Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Chifalo, and I am the LGBTQ plus program specialist for the Boulder County Area Agency on Aging. I'm actually a local Colorado native, actually not local Colorado native, I'm a Colorado native. I was born and raised in Pueblo, Colorado, which is south of here, about an hour and a half. I have not always lived in Colorado. I moved to Los Angeles, California to go to college, where I earned my bachelor's in psychology and my master's in social work from the University of Southern California. After that, I worked in domestic violence for a while and met my partner in Los Angeles and moved to Mobile, Alabama, where I worked.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely a change from Los Angeles. Moved to Mobile, Alabama, where I worked in post-adoption services. Then we decided to relocate to Colorado and basically come back home. And here I am now, and working at the Boulder County Area Agency on Aging.
Wow, that's nice. A wide and varied experience for yourself. So tell me a little bit about the AAA, the Agency on Aging Adults. I mean, I think we'll all call it AAA. It's not the insurance company.
It is not AAA. They're not going to help you out with car insurance or come give you a tow. No, it's the Area Agency on Aging. And we're actually one of 16 area agencies on aging throughout the state of Colorado.
Okay.
And we're
Wow.
lucky enough to be housed within a county government. So we're actually a part of Boulder County government under the county commissioners. And so all the way up the chain, those are our big bosses, are the county commissioners. And so our services and salaries are funded primarily from property taxes of the residents in Boulder County.
So here in Boulder, there are several divisions. So what do you have? What divisions do they have that you can remember off the top of your head? There's like 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's departments and divisions. So you have departments like public health and housing and human services. Community services is where we're a part of. And then there are divisions within community services. And so the divisions like the AAA Area Agency on Aging, CAP, Community Action Programs, Head Start is a part of our division, as well as Workforce Boulder County. And so those different divisions are part of the Department of Community Services. It's really confusing, and it takes some time to figure all that out.
Yeah,
but yeah,
well, I'm learning it myself. Cool.
Yeah,
so,
well, I'm still learning too.
Yeah, nice. So, Michael, you are then the program specialist for LGBTQ plus program. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so first of all, just to be upfront and so that there's no confusion, I just want to talk about the acronym and say what it stands for. It's lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer plus program specialist. And so we help serve and provide a safe and welcoming environment for people who have a different sexual orientation or gender identity than the primary dominant culture, which usually is heterosexual and cisgender. And so we provide many different services in order to do that. Probably the first one that's the most important is our training program called Project Visibility. It was originally created because we heard from our folks that said, hey, I'm worried about if I have to seek senior services, if I have to go into a nursing home, am I gonna be able to be out? Am I gonna be able to be myself? Am I gonna be able to share that this is my partner? Am I going to have to lie? Am I going to have to go back in the closet and misrepresent myself? And so we created a training program in 2004 aimed at helping to educate those staffs in those communities, formerly called facilities. I don't like using the word facility as much for a long-term care. I like community better. We go out and we train folks so that they can then create an inclusive community for LGBTQ plus older adults. And so the things that we help them with are, educating themselves so that they can learn language that's more inclusive, taking that language and using that on the intake forms so that their forms look in line and they They help encourage inclusivity instead of exclusivity, making sure that images, that their staff are kind. All those pieces are all part of Project Visibility. And so that's a very important part of it. We have a wing called the Rainbow Elders. That's the name that they gave themselves. And it is all about providing social support and community education to LGBTQ plus older adults. We say older adults too. I want to clarify that too. So we receive Older Americans Act funding, which dictates that you provide services to 60 plus. But there's been a little bit of a movement to be a little more inclusive and maybe jump down to include maybe 50 plus. So what I always tell people is we don't card at any of our events. We encourage an intergenerational space, and so even younger folks, you know, are welcome to come to our events as well. We found that it enhances, you know, the activity and the discussion when we have a lot of representation. And so,
Right. So just because you are housed by the AAA doesn't mean that you're limited to older adults. You're taking everybody and offering the services to everybody that serves and that is part of this group.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say we have a focus on 50 plus older adults because we are part of the Area Agency on Aging, and that's an important demographic for us to focus on. But because we value that intergenerational community and space, I think it's important for us to make sure that we're including people of all ages in all of our events. So, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. You know, on your Project Visibility, you were talking about training and trainings that you do for us all to be more inclusive. But these trainings are for the residents of a house? Are they for the gay people themselves, or are they for the community service, you know, providers, or for everybody?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, originally it was created for staff of assisted living and long-term care communities, but it really has morphed and grown into something that can be tailored and customized for any audience. And so I think it's really helpful for anybody to be able to hear this. And so I think that people who already identify as members of the community could benefit from going to one of these trainings. Definitely folks who don't have a lot of experience with this community will for sure benefit from it. You know, it's set up in a way where it's a safe learning environment for people. So it's the place where people can make mistakes and you can ask questions, because I think it's really important when facilitating a training to create that space so that folks can try things out. Some of this stuff is new. You know, I mean, we've been trained to think in terms of like pronoun usage, you know, we've been trained to think about he and she from the beginning of time. And now there are some different ways to express that. And so it's new to us. And I think it's important to recognize that we need a little bit of time and space for practice. Then we can start holding people accountable. But once we practice things, it gets much easier, and then it just becomes second nature. And so, point to your question is that I really think this training can be for anyone, and anyone who's interested in it. We've always kept a really open door policy about, look, if you want us to come to any event, no matter how much time you have to give, we can find something to help educate folks on what we do and why this is important.
Wow, very cool. That's awesome. And tell me about your newsletter, because you have a newsletter and you have Facebook pages, and how people can reach you and get a hold of you.
Yeah, great. So we have a monthly e-newsletter that goes out, and folks can subscribe to that just by giving me your email address. And we'll also have my email on here so folks can get a hold of me in any way. We also have Facebook presence for both Project Visibility and Rainbow Elders of Boulder County. And so check those out. I put daily posts up. That's a space. The newsletter is probably the best place to find out everything that's going on, but the Facebook page is a really great source of information. I really try to cross-post a lot of important information on there. And so that's going on as well. We also have a virtual tea time that's coming up on the 23rd, and we're doing it twice a month now. So we'll have a couple every month here through the time that we're not able to meet in person. And that's a great opportunity for folks to tune in for an hour, maybe see old friends, maybe meet new people. Each time we've had a couple new folks that have never connected before with us. And so it's a really great space for folks to connect that way. And so virtual tea time is pretty important too.
Excellent. So, all right, before we finish, tell me something that is historically important about this whole movement and why we got here. Why do we care? Tell me something that we don't know about.
Yeah, so Pride, which was last month, June is declared Pride Month pretty much across the whole world. And Pride celebrates the Stonewall Riots that happened in 1969. So in the latter part of June, I believe it might have been June 28th, 1969, after weeks and weeks of being harassed at the Stonewall Inn, folks were tired and fought back and started a multiple day riot. And these riots were primarily orchestrated, began a whole movement that was started by trans women of color. So Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera are two very important historical figures that really began the modern LGBTQ plus movement with the riots in the Stonewall Inn in 1969.
Well, thank you for that. I didn't know about that until you mentioned it earlier today. I'm like, wow, that's great. That's incredible. And it's amazing how social uprising and riots have an important part in our history, and not only for the LGBTQ community. Now we're having our own version of that recently for equality, but that's a topic for another day. All right, Michael, thank you so very much for your time today. Just remember, I'm going to put your information down here for everybody to read, and your contact information and your website and email address and all of those good things. But before we go, I have one last surprise question for you. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word? Geez, that's a tough one. I don't know if I've ever thought of what my favorite word is. You know, I'd have to say that when you said, what is your favorite word? The first word that came to my mind was cat. I am a cat lover. I have a 17-year-old cat that lives with me here in Arvada with me and my partner. And so cat was the first thing that came to mind. So I'll say that's my favorite word.
There you have it.
Definitely my favorite animal.
There you have it. Thank you, Michael, so very much for your time and this great information. And good luck to you and your project and everything you do. And let us know how we can help. All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ricardo. Appreciate it.
Till next time.